Yep. USSI, USI, not USSI. Yeah. They claim that. I need to.
Why would you ever?
I've been searching my waters.
Okay, it's 7 p.m. We'll call the regular monthly meeting of the Columbia City Plan Commission to order and have roll call.
Chip Hill. John Kissinger.
Here.
Don Langeloh.
Here.
Jennifer Romano. Nicki Venable.
Here.
Dennis Warnick.
Here.
Dan Weigold.
Here.
Larry Weiss.
Here.
Patrick Zickgraf.
Here. Consideration and adoption of the previous meeting minutes that were in our packet.
Mr. Chairman, I move they be approved as distributed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? Those approving signify by raising your right hand.
Are we looking at the May 6 minutes?
Yes.
May 6 minutes.
That's what it was.
Correct, sounds like you said correct.
Oh, well, the meetings that was submitted in our packet.
Okay, because I wasn't here at the May 6 meeting, but I didn't get the other one.
That's
Oh,
all
that
we
was
had.
the only one.
That's the only one.
Okay.
So you voting for or?
No, that's the previous meeting, yeah, well,
We don't have it.
okay, well, I was just making sure we had the right one.
You gotta stay there.
I think we have one abstention.
For the May 6 minutes. That's right, we haven't been here, have we?
No. Administration of oath to any witnesses. Anyone who wished to speak, ask questions tonight, you'll need to stand, raise your right hand, and our legal counsel will swear you in.
It's easier to do it now than to be singled out later. Yeah, do you solemnly swear that any information you give this commission this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Any old business, Nathan?
No.
Okay, moving on to new business, 24-C-SCBD-4. Douglas and Amy Richards request primary plat approval for a 2-lot subdivision proposed to be known as Poverty Knob. The 3.25 acre property is zoned R1, single-family residential district, and located at 460 West Gates Road. Excuse me, on the north side of Gates Road, 525 feet west of Forest Parkway. Nathan?
Thank you. So, okay, so bear with me. Apparently the camera is not picking up what's on the screen, so I got to do this a little differently so we get the recording right. So, okay.
I don't have these kind of issues at City Hall.
Wow.
I do. I was just being sarcastic.
I'll leave that alone. Okay, so this is a 2-lot subdivision being proposed. 460 West Gate Road is the address of the existing home. The property is already improved with the existing house and at least 2 outbuildings. What is proposed is to split the RV barn and house and garage. Split the RV barn from the house and garage, sell the house and garage off, retain the RV barn. Notably, Gates Road, the right-of-way is not being is not proposed with this. Gates Road was already established by survey back in whenever the previous plat was done for the property across the way. It was actually established by survey prior to that. However, as noted on the plat itself, some of that right-of-way does overlap onto this property. So I recommend that any portion of that right-of-way that wasn't previously dedicated from this property is dedicated with this plat, which then tweaks the lot area and setbacks a little bit. As it is, you can see there in the table all of the zoning requirements. The house lot, which is lot 1, is proposed to remain on septic as I understand it. However, the eastern lot, lot 2, is does need to be connected to sewer in order to meet the proposed minimums, the code minimums of 10,000 square feet and 75 feet in width. Otherwise, if it was on septic, the 132 foot wide width would not meet the minimum of 150. The area would be just over the minimum of 1 acre. Chip, correct me if I'm wrong, sewer is available to this lot.
Yes, it's at the corner of North and Gates Road. I believe 3 to 4 of the current owners near Forest Parkway and that corner are all tied into it, so it's not unimaginable to, with directional drilling and a pump station to get it there.
Okay. And for reference, this is outlined in blue as this is the parent tract, and Forest Parkway is located just over here. So these would be the existing homes. Little closer view for reference. And then this is a view showing the contours. It also shows the existing utilities. Blue is water. There is actually a storm line located on the back side of the parent tract, which is shown on the plat as a legal drain easement. So that easement is on the plat. I also show this because of one of the suggested conditions of approval deals with whether a sidewalk would be required here. This is, as you know, a common question we faced, and not too long ago we did require a somewhat similar replat to put in sidewalks down along South Line Street. Notably, that was a fairly flat site. It did have some side ditches, but importantly, it did connect between existing sidewalks and was definitely an infill situation. Sidewalks here would not be an infill, it would be the first off sort of situation. The nearest sidewalk otherwise is over by the old hospital site on North Street. Actually, I think it's on Oak Street. So several hundred feet to the east. Long term, one would probably think that the connection between North Street and the 4-H Fairgrounds would be understandable, but would requiring a sidewalk with this plat be the appropriate thing, because again, it would be a one-off situation for a long time. Or would it be better to handle it as a comprehensive solution at some point in the future?
And there is no sidewalks on Oak Street until you get down to Park Street.
Correct.
So.
Way down.
It's pretty far.
Way down.
Additionally, and you can see it on the contours here, you've got a pretty steep slope coming down off of Gates Road to the south. And so that actually extends onto the property to the south. So I would suggest that any sidewalk that was built ideally would need to grade across both properties. So the ideal situation would extend beyond just this particular property. That said, the way the code reads, it is your option to require or not require sidewalks, so I leave that up to you. The proposed plat, I've talked about all the major features here, other than, again, right in this area here, you can see that overlap between the Gates Road right-of-way and the property lines that are here. And the plat overlaid over the aerial. It's also worth noting, I guess, the fact that the RV barn is an accessory structure. We're creating a situation of an accessory structure without a primary structure. If this RV barn was being built by itself, if this plat had already gone through and the RV barn was being proposed by itself, that would not be allowed. However, this is creating a legal non-conforming situation. Platting and zoning are still separate codes, and so platting can continue forward. They just can't wind up extending this use without having a primary structure at some point in the future. I don't believe that's their intent, but that is something to also note from the staff report. Proposed conditions, I discussed number 1, I discussed number 2, and number 3 is the standard condition for minor flats such as this to delegate secondary plat approval to staff. This does potentially have some sewer installation, but it would be not a quote-unquote public sewer, so it still qualifies as a minor plat. Any questions for me?
Okay, thank you, Nathan. Anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this, or the representative for this, you'd please come up.
My name is Ryan Pepler. I live at 3490 North Etna Road. I'm here representing Walker and Associates Land Surveyors. We helped the Richards split this property. I do have full-size copies if you guys do want to see those or not. Yeah. No, okay. So a couple things that Nathan brought up. Start with the additional right-of-way. Right now, I do not have the additional right-of-way split off as a separate tract. That was it. The owner is not opposed to that necessarily. It would take that additional area off the tax rolls, if I understand correctly.
I believe so.
A little bit. I mean, it's minor, so just something to think about. If we do move that line north, that would be removed from the tax roll. It would also move that building setback north. We're talking about maybe 8 or 10 feet in that area is what we're talking about. The current property corner does fall within the pavement of Gates Road. So just as you're discussing whether or not the additional right-of-way is to be taken, those are some things to think about. As far as sidewalks, the nearest walk is approximately 1,000 feet south on Squawbuck Road. And then as far as where the nearest walk is on Gates Road and North Street, it's over near Elm Street, about 1,500 feet away. I had those backwards. About 1,000 feet east and 1,500 feet south of the property. North Street is fairly narrow street as it is right now. So as you think about potential sidewalks down the road, I'm not sure if that's an area that's going to see a lot of widening for sidewalks. So we would like to not have to put sidewalks along this property just because it would be a spot area. And then the third thing, which hasn't come up yet, I'm assuming it will, is drainage. There's a large swale. I don't know if you have the contours that you could put back up there. The owners are not opposed to putting a drainage easement across that north part of the property, maybe along the top of the bank back there. It's going to serve a couple purposes. One, to protect the adjoining property owners, the church to the north, the property owners to the east, and then also the property owners to the northwest, but also to protect themselves on lot number 2 for any drainage that might be blocked heading down to the southwest. So we would work with the Plan Commission staff as well as the owners to come up with drainage easement that would make sense in this situation. Any questions?
On the drainage issue, you're saying they could have an easement back there, that's fine, but I think there is a ditch just north of that. They're gonna have to get permission from the property owners to the north to run a tile or something to get the water to the ditch. I mean, there's gotta be a way to get rid of it. So whether you have an easement there or not, you think you need to have a way of getting rid of the excess water. that might be draining from that. That's a pretty significant hill there. So my question would be is, okay, you can have an easement, you can put a drainage tile in, but where's it gonna go?
There's a faint red line there that there's an existing county tile.
Don't stitch.
It shows up on here, this.
Oh, okay.
There's a tile that's in there.
May I be?
Where's the street?
There's
Street is down
It's Park Street.
Yeah,
So this is,
in that tile across the road.
you can see it from this.
right above here.
Yeah.
This one comes from.
Does that answer your question, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
And they got another one down here.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
comes from the city.
It's there.
Yeah.
That's the second.
Well, what we would be doing is not taking away, that's a state statute that we have to abide by. The drainage board can reduce that easement if they see fit, but, well, not reduce it. They can allow buildings to be built within that 75 feet. So that has to stay, that 75 feet that shows up on our plat. We were saying that we would be willing to come across lot number 2, across the north side of lot number 2, and across part of the north side of lot number 1, so that drainage would continue to drain the same way it is now.
Any other questions for Mr. Pepper? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who'd like to speak in favor of this, please come up, state your name and address. Anyone opposed? You'd like to make a comment, please come up, state your name and address. Okay. Board?
I have one comment. Larry, talked to me today or sent a voicemail about the sidewalks. And I talked to several people in the city, and I know it's possibly not what the commission, our goals are, but we didn't feel as the city that, the city wanted to put the burden on that they had to put in sidewalks since there is no true connectivity. I know that's not, our standard, but that was after speaking with 3 people today, that was the city's official comment that, we did not want to have to say you have to put in sidewalks. So I don't know how far that carries, but yeah, right now with the setbacks and everything, we feel that there's no future plans of doing anything like that along there, and mainly upsetting the neighborhood, so.
I kind of agree with that, but also I've seen people walking on North Street, and that's especially out closer to town where Oak and Elm and all those are.
It's
I've seen
dangerous,
people,
yeah.
I'm like, it's pretty dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was trying to remember, I should have driven out there and I didn't. But I was looking at, is there a curb along with that? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Last time I was up there, there was no curb. So then that's gonna put the responsibility back on the city to curb it and then sidewalk. I'm like, that's a heck of a expense.
Yeah.
With all of that being done like we did out of Westgate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just was concerned about that, but yeah, there's no connectivity between the sidewalks to anything even close to that, so.
So Chip, the stormwater, it pretty much just runs in the ditch. And
Yes,
culverts
side ditch. Mm-hmm.
down to the catch basin.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that the city at some point would develop a plan, because you can go all the way down to 5 Points down there at Oak and Park, and that whole area from there going north, there's no sidewalk. curb, stormwater control or anything. Or going out Park Street towards the trail. So it would be other than the fact that I think the right of way being added is adequate, that until the city comes up with a project plan or something, that at that point then the sidewalk is addressed.
I think between the city and the board that takes care of the greenways, what is their plan for the future?
Right.
And we have not come up with one yet. That's the problem.
Been a lot of fantasy talk about trying to figure out how to get another connected North Street out there towards Lincoln area. There's been a lot of fantasy talk, but there's not been anything even close to solid.
Any further discussion, board?
Yeah, I have a question. And this is just hypothetical. What happens when they wanna sell this? There's not a house there. It's just a garage. So there's not room for them to build a house in there, is there, Nathan?
It's over an acre in size.
Is
so
it?
I don't see why it wouldn't be, and there's
Okay, it
no
would have to
septic
set
field
in
requirement.
behind somehow. Or back about the, it's an odd situation. I don't know if you ever run into it.
132 feet across.
Looks like there's a little more space there than what we think.
There's a lot more there than we think.
Yeah, please.
If it's connected with sewer, the minimum width for lot with sewer is 75 feet.
Okay.
That new lot's gonna be 132 and a half feet. So
Okay, so there's room.
there is room, and I think, I don't know if you can bring the contours and the adjoining lots back up. That lot's gonna be roughly the same size as those two adjoining lots. If it were me, if I was buying that lot, I think I would stick it roughly in line with the other two houses to the east. I think makes a lot of sense, and that you maybe have a side load garage or something. But there is enough space to make it a buildable lot.
Okay. Okay.
So
I don't think that's the intention right away, though. Right? It's not. Yeah.
So basically, as long as the setback matched up with Louis and Pat's house down there.
The proposed setback is actually much closer to the road because that's what's in the zoning. I typically start with whatever's in the zoning, and then if it needs to be moved, then so be it. But right now, it's quite a ways up there. It's going to be 35 feet from the edge of pavement, roughly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Or if the right of way gets moved, then 35 feet from there. There's that. Yeah, it's that next line north. You see where the white of the pavement is. There's another line up there where 35-foot line 35-foot front yard setback would be up there.
Nathan, were there any covenants in the Gates addition?
There were covenants in the Gates edition, but this is not part of Gates edition.
Okay.
So this was basically a remainder of Mr. Gates's. It was his house, and so he wound up platting off stuff around him, but never his own house.
Okay.
Okay, board, any other discussion?
Wish to make the motion for approval. 24-C, SUBD 4. Be a favorable recommendation. Without the sidewalk. But we would also, have the right of way adjusted in such a way as item number 2 dedicate the Gates Road right of way, revise the building lines and line areas, and that the secondary plat approval will be designated to staff.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Nicki. Any discussion? Those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Motion carried. Any other business?
Actually, just a reminder that you should have gotten email this morning or this afternoon or something about the 5th Monday training session on the 30th, which won't be a training session, it will be a workshop on comprehensive plans. I would appreciate a good number of attendees there. You guys have good attendance record at the training session. The goal will be to review everybody's comprehensive plans and learn from each other. So it'll be hopefully well attended and a good experience for everybody. And I am planning on bringing food. So if you have any preferences, Heroes I hear up there is a good place to get food. So it'll be probably from Heroes. So if you've got preferences on what gets ordered, let me know. And also RSVP so we can have a head count too. But that's Monday the 30th at 6 p.m. up in Cherubusco.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Anything else, board?
I move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, is there a second? Second. Those in favor?
Aye.